wanted Kayla to hop on our Zoom tonight. Kayla is a diamond on our team, and I want her to hop on tonight and talk to us a little bit about her story about getting started, because I feel like people can relate to Kayla so much. I feel like mine was so long ago that people are just like, that's like the Stone Ages. So Kayla just has recently been in. So I wanted her to talk a little bit about what kind of happened. Kayla, I want you to start with, I want you to literally start from the very beginning. So from our conversation. So basically from you messaging me to that conversation we had for a year, what we talked about, this and that, and kind of the importance of follow-up, the importance of, you know, checking back in, and then what happened and what made you join. Because I want you to go from the first month you were going to join, you didn't. The second month you were going to join, you didn't. And then I want you to kind of talk about that. Then I want you to go into after the OTOM in January, and then stop right there. And then we'll move on to what I want to go into after that. So, all right, go ahead, babe.
All right. So I originally messaged Allie to see if she wanted to come over to my house to do a facial. I used to be with another company, and we had to do facials and parties all the time. Had to carry inventory. And so I would literally have all these people all day long at my house, go from appointment to appointment to appointment. So I messaged her and said, hey, would you like to come over and have a facial? Blah, 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 whatever I said. I think I complimented her, said that she had pretty eyes or something. And she wrote me back and said that she would be interested in having a combined, we could do like a combined party or something, because she sold another product. And I said, and she told me that she had the products that we had or whatever, but she'd do a party with me. I said, okay, great. We literally never booked a party together. She started chatting with me about the opportunity side, and a little bit about the product, because I had never heard of It Works before. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually getting married in September. I would love to try some products, you know, to tone up a little bit, get a little bit skinnier, things like that. So I never tried a product. And I'd be like, oh, you know, give me a couple weeks. My husband gets paid in a couple weeks. Follow up with me then. Once I quit the other MLM, we started chatting more about the opportunity side, and I just wanted to know more about this. And I'd always tell her, okay, I'm going to join. And I never would, you guys. And she would message me month after month. But we started building a relationship. So we got married a week apart, and she had kids, well, a little boy, and I had kids. So I was a stay-at-home mom. She was a stay-at-home mom. Like we aligned really well, and we just started kind of figuring out things about each other. And we built a really good friendship before I even joined. But I kept blowing her off still. My excuse was, I'm getting married. So I ended up, when I came back from Hawaii, I texted her one day and I said, hey, let's meet up. I want to talk about the opportunity. And so we met up at Starbucks. We talked for like an hour and a half or something. I tried a half a can of energy because I wanted to save the rest for my husband to try. And I think she gave me a wow sample and like a chew, and I didn't try either one. I just threw them in there first. Sounds great. By the time that I left, I said, okay, I'm going to join. Let me go home and talk to Lucas, and we will go ahead and get started like within the next couple days. Came home, talked to Lucas, and Lucas was like, I don't know. I don't think that that's like such a good idea. You've done other at-home businesses, but you can do whatever you want. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do anything. But I just kept feeling like it kept coming back, and I wanted to do this. I wanted to try it. I was like, I don't know anything about health and wellness. I am not into it in my life, but it just seems like it would be fun. Like you don't have to carry inventory. It just sounds way better than what I had before. And so Lucas just kept blowing me off, never really gave me an answer. He was just like, okay, whatever, do whatever you want. So I actually texted Allie and I said, hey, can you come over this night? And I made sure Lucas was home. Lucas ended up grilling her for 3 hours. It was a long time. Like she was here forever. And all I remember is thinking during that time, I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to do it, but we'll just have her over anyways. And then Lucas by that time was like, okay, I'm going to join. I don't know if she is, but I am. And I was like, wait, what? Okay, sounds good. So he ended up joining, and then I joined as well that next day. And we got started. We had our launch party. Our launch party like 2 or 3 days in the business. Like it was like the very first weekend we had our launch party. I had 5 people there. And I was like, well, this is going great. I was supposed to have like 20 and only 5 people showed up. So I was like, okay, so 4 of them signed and 1 of them became an LC. So that was my very first party. I already ended up getting, I was already, what am I trying to think of? I don't even know. Anyways, we'll move on because I don't remember what I was going to say. But anyway, so by the end of that night, 4 people had joined my team. So I had already made my money back from my starter kit 3 days into the business. So I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. This is so much fun. I love it. So I promoted my very first month. I think we had like 3 weeks left in the month of November. And I promoted to executive that first month. And I remember getting my very first paycheck in December and going, oh my gosh, I just made as much money this month that I did ever like with Mary Kay. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say the other MLM that I had. So I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. So I was super excited. December, so Thanksgiving, we found out we were pregnant and I was super, super sick. At this point, I was watching, I think I had 8 kids that I was watching full time in my house, and that included my 2 girls. So I was watching 6 kids on top of my 2. And I was early pregnant, tired, emotional. It was just insane. And so December, I didn't work at all, you guys. I was messaging people, but nobody was signing. So I signed nobody in December. And I was like, what the heck? But I still maintained, obviously, executive from all my loyals that I had had the previous month. So I was just like, this isn't really for me. I'm just going to throw in the towel. No big deal. I'm done. And in January, Allie texted me and said, hey, you're coming to an ODM with me, a 1 team, 1 mission with me. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to go. And she's like, yeah, just come. And I said, okay, I'll go if Lucas can go. So I bought me and Lucas a ticket, and he ended up not coming, like he couldn't go. So I literally called her the morning of 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm actually not going to be able to make it. I'm just, Lucas can't go and I'm not feeling very well. The weather's bad. I came up with every excuse in the book, you guys. And she's like, either you show up or I'm going to come pick you up. And I'm like, okay, this girl's crazy. Sounds great. I'm going to show up. So I went over there, got in this car with 6 other girls that I had no idea who they were. And we rode up to Spokane, and it was the longest car ride ever. They were singing and they were laughing, and Tawny was calling me out because we were like supposed to be singing like on, what was that, Periscope back in the day that we all used Periscope. And so they were like singing on it and all this dancing around in the car, and I was not. I will now, but I was not like that when I first get to know people. And I was like, what did I get myself into? I'm just like trying to hide. So Tawny's calling me out on there, and I'm like, these people are mean. I don't like anybody in this car. And so we rode up, and I remember walking in, and it was a smaller venue. I think there was like 75 people there. It wasn't huge, but I remember thinking, okay, just sitting back there, I was being super quiet. And at this point, I didn't think that I was going to get anything out of it. I had no idea what to expect. And all I remember is people are walking by and talking and sharing their stories is all of a sudden it just clicked for me, you guys. And it was like, I can do this. Like, this is not hard. If they can do it, I can do it. And I remember texting Allie and I said, I get it. I believe in myself. I can do this. And from that point on, I'll stop there. So that's kind of my story so far.
I love it. So a couple of things that always stand out to me about Kayla's story, you guys, is number one, the power of, they're always watching. Like, Kayla was in another company, and I never, ever thought she was going to switch over, ever, because she was so passionate about what she did. But that's something that I've realized is that when somebody's good at what they do, continue to talk to them, because you can get tips, but then also you never know what's going to happen, right? But then when Kayla got started, she ran right out of the gate. I mean, how many of us run right out of the gate and then we just stop, right? We just put a halt to it and we stop. I think we've all done that, and it was something that it's so powerful with residual income is that you get paid for months to come from the work you did 6 months ago, a year ago. I'm still getting paid, you guys, from people I enrolled 4 years ago. So even if you have a slower month, even if you take a halt, you stop, it doesn't mean you have to quit or give up. Life happens. And that's what I'm going to go in with Kayla next. Is I want her to kind of talk about what happened this last year is that Kayla ended up promoting to Ruby in February, Emerald in March, and then Diamond she went Diamond in April. And so she promoted pretty quickly. But I want her to talk more about what happened after she promoted. So she's pregnant through all these promotions. And I want to kind of talk about what happened last year, Kayla, between basically the worst slump that you ever had. I want you to talk about that. And then I want you to talk about what happened, like when did you decide enough was enough and that you were going to get back on your feet no matter how hard you got knocked down. I want you to talk about what you did to get back to where you were come December. And then coming into this year, what changed? What's different? Because you've grown so much as a person and who you are and the person you are and where you're going. And so I want you to talk about a little bit from like May to September, that kind of shift, and then from like September to December, and then January till now. So those 3 different little segments.
All right. Okay. So May to September, I was pregnant. My pregnancy was a little bit rougher with my last one. She wasn't an easy baby to carry for me. So I was in and out of the doctor's offices, hospitals. I was going to the doctor 3 times a week with her. So I was high risk the whole entire time during my pregnancy. I had a lot of stress. We were going through a lot so in May, April. In April, our lives completely changed. We got our oldest daughter from 50% of the time to full-time. And that was a huge adjustment for us. We started having a lot of things go on over at the other place that she was staying at. And we ended up living with my parents for about 3 weeks during this time. And at this point, I'm almost 7 months pregnant. And I just promoted to Diamond. And I remember getting to Diamond and just being so tired. I was like, I cannot promote another month, Allie. And I literally, the day that I promoted, I told her, I was like, I'm not promoting anymore right now. Like, this is where I want to stay. Just keep me here for like a couple months at least. I just have so much going on right now. I can't focus on everything in promoting and, my personal life. I had so much on my plate and I just felt like I couldn't handle it. May, I got really, really sick with myself and my baby. So I was completely out of it for 3 days. Like literally I slept 3 solid days. I didn't move from my bed. I couldn't wake up. Like I was super out of it. And it was just a lot of stress that was keeping me down. I had a lot, so I was going to quit. I just was like, there's so much going on. I can't do everything. But I knew that this was changing me as a person, but I just felt like I didn't know how to handle personal life and my business life. Like I felt like I couldn't thrive in either one of them. And my personal, it felt like needed more attention than anything else. So I put my business, to be honest, on the back burner. And I kind of just coasted through the summer. And I was like, I was signing people here and there for June, July, and August, but I wasn't 100% in at all. I just was focusing on my personal life. And like I said, I put this on the back burner. I would still post, I would still message people, but my heart wasn't in it during that time. And obviously my paycheck and things like that were suffering from it. My business was suffering from it. And I didn't feel like I was whole. I felt like I was in a very dark place during those times because life was just completely turned upside down. And so I felt like I was inverting back into my old ways from where this business has changed me so much the months before. And I wasn't doing personal development. I wasn't working on myself in any way, shape, or form. I was focusing solely on my kids at this point and trying to keep the baby from having her early. She tried to come at 32 weeks. And so I was on strict bed rest from 32 weeks until I had her at 36 and a half weeks. And that was really hard. My mom was over here every single day taking care of me while my husband was at work. I was like a psycho. I was very angry and a lot to handle. So I wasn't good in any way, shape, or form. But I can tell you that the friendships that I've built in this business have helped me through those months of getting through all those dark periods of positivity and things like that from me going too crazy. And then where do you want me to stop at? September? Okay. So September, I had the baby. We were doing good. We were out home from the hospital. She was a couple months old. And I finally felt like I could get back in my routine. So I finally told Allie, like, hey, I am ready to be all in. I know these last months have been crazy, but I feel like my life is finally back. My oldest is in school. My middle one is in preschool. I feel like I can handle it all. My hormones are gone. I'm not crazy anymore. And it was just like, I needed this. I knew that this was something that I needed, because going from having a kid half the time to having a kid full time, plus we added another brand new baby, it was like having two brand new kids and then our middle one. And it was like, okay, how are we going to go from supporting one full time to three full time? And that was a huge thing. And I said, okay, I have to start making an income, like a steady income. Because if I don't, like, there's no way we can afford all three of these kids at this point. Like, there wasn't. And so I think that it just clicked that I had to get my butt in gear, because we went from babysitting to having all that extra money. I brought in about $3,000 from babysitting to I didn't have babysitting anymore. It was gone and had been gone for a couple of months. So I knew that I had to get myself in gear, and the only way to do it was to go all in. And so I went all in again in September.
So a couple things that I always get from that is that even though she wasn't present or at trainings or whatever, but she still felt in her heart, what this business has, did for her and has done for her. And I think about that, it's not about where you're currently at in your journey or how many customers you've signed or how many distributors you signed. It's a matter of, how far you've come. Think about where you once were at the very beginning. Think about where you are right now. No matter how many times you've taken a step back, no matter, how many times you're excelling, like, be proud of your journey and how far you've come and where you're at, the things you've overcome, the things you've accomplished. And I think about that too, because I get in those ruts too. I had one this month where I was just so frustrated and I had to stop and think about, why are you even thinking about that? You need to be excited and proud of this team and you for how much you've overcome and where you started. And just like with Kayla, it was a rough 3 months, and that doesn't define her or her journey. It was that moment. She had her moment and then she kicked herself back into gear. So what happened in fourth quarter, Kayla, the last couple months of the year going into the new year?
The last couple months were rough. Like, I think for me, like, holiday seasons are always hard, right? Like, we have a lot going on with family. We have a lot going on. Those are definitely our planting months. So I had to basically, in September, because I wasn't working my business full time, I was having to replant seeds with people. I was having to rebuild that. So November and December were really planting months for me, but I was excited. I was passionate again. I was focusing on myself. I was doing my personal development, right? I was really just building that belief within myself, and getting back out there and working the business like I did in the beginning. And I think that, like I said, November and December were really planting months for me, but it's all come to harvest now in the newer months here, January and February.
So what happened? Tell us a little bit about your shift of mindset. Tell us what happened. Not only your shift of mindset, but you stepped up. You've stepped up as a leader. You've stepped up and done, trainings and Zooms and live videos and at conference, And tell us about that, because I think people are so stuck on like the rank, you're so stuck on like, your rank defines your leadership, or your rank defines if you can do things or step up and do things. And I think that's something that I learned early on, is it didn't matter your paycheck, it didn't matter your experience, it didn't matter how many people you had under you, you just did it. And leadership is just an action, it's an influence. And I want every one of you guys to understand that on this Zoom, that no matter your rank, all of you guys can run a Zoom. All of you guys can step up and run trainings, just like Hannah, you're taking over that in Hood River. And I love that. I love that you stepped up and doing that, because it doesn't matter your rank. Amber, Christine, you say, Allie, I want to run a Zoom with you. I want to run a training with you. You guys can. You have every right to do that, no matter what rank you are. This is our team page as one. So Kayla, what was just that like fire in your belly that just made you want to do that?
Really, to be honest, I went on the leadership retreat in October, you guys, and I had never hung out with these girls besides Allie in a time like that. This was my first out of town trip. Prim was 3 months old. I was first leaving her for the first time. And it was such a huge eye opener for me. And I was like, I'm on this leadership retreat. I am considered one of the leaders, and earning that and getting that to that spot where I never thought that I would be, you guys. I never even thought that I'd make it to executive, let alone diamond. And I remember just being so grateful and just really humbled by that whole experience. They were not any different than me. They've all gone through life. And the only thing that was different from them to me is they've never quit. They've always kept going. They've always kept putting a foot in front of the other. No matter how much life gets thrown at them. And I used to use that as an excuse. Well, life's hard right now. I can't do it. There's too much. And I feel like in this journey, you guys, I've had more life happen than I've ever had in my whole life. I feel like so much more has hit me, but I just have to find a way to get through it. And that's truly where my breakthrough came. That was the breakthrough before conference. So that was mine that drove me through the rest of the year, was that leadership retreat.
So if you guys remember the beginning, as she was talking about, she got to an event that changed everything for her at the beginning, right? And then continuing to go to events and then getting to that leadership retreat. And so I want to challenge all of you guys that, if you're not yet going to the Seattle 1 Team 1 Mission on April 9th, get there. We're carpooling together. It's $10 a ticket. Get there. That is going to change your business, especially being there with Pam Souter, Mike Patello, and it's Kay Souter is going to be there, Pam's daughter. Like, it's going to be crazy. Rhonda Hartman, Kelly Kaufman, Brianna Spindle. There's going to be so many top leaders there, and it's going to be so fun to have our huge team there because it's close to us in Seattle, and I cannot wait. We're going up and back. So get a babysitter here if you haven't already. The next event after that is our Ruby and Above dinner, April 13th. That's a Thursday. Every single one of you guys can be Ruby, Hannah, you are. So Amber, Christine, you guys can be Ruby without a doubt by April 13th. I know you guys can. And get to that dinner. Just the dinners alone, I remember I was laughing because a time hop popped up and it was my first Ruby and Above dinner, and it was me and Kylie. And it was like, we're prepping for the Ruby and Above dinner tonight. And I was like, God, that's weird. And Tawny wrote a comment and she goes, I can't wait to be spoiled tonight. And I thought about that and I'm like, gosh, think about how much we've grown as a team, and just thinking about how much has changed and all this leadership is rising up. And I want every single one of you guys to know that you are worth it. You've got to put one foot in front of the other, like Kayla said. You've got to be consistent. You've got to find your groove of this business and just keep running with it, because this is the harvest time. This is the time to not sit back and watch everybody else promote. This isn't the time to sit back and say, maybe tomorrow. Do it now. And what I have found is that when I work this business, when I don't want to, I get so much more stuff done than when I do. And so pushing yourself through that mental block or that mental breakthrough, it's going to help you so much in the long run. And even that, you guys, after the 1 Team 1 Mission and the Ruby Dinner, we have our leadership retreat, our 2017 leadership retreat is May 5th, the first weekend of May, on Diamond and Above. So I know every one of you guys can be there, and I want you to be there. We're at a beach house in Lincoln City on the beach for 3 days. It's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait. So some things that I want you to think about, you are no different than Kayla. You're no different than Kayla. You are no different than me. There's no reason why you guys can't be a diamond or a presidential diamond, because all we did, like she says, we just never give up. We just kept going, kept putting one foot in front of the other, just kept messaging 5 more people a day, kept doing our personal development to keep our head in the game. And I can't tell you guys how many days where I'm just like, I just want to quit. I just want to give up, you know? And then I have to sit down and I have to realize that my why is what keeps me in the game. Like Kayla said, the friendships are what keeps me in this game. Because even if I didn't make another dollar in this business, because of you guys, I'm still here because I'm having fun. I enjoy this. I love these products. I love our team. I love the friendships that we created. So if you're not having fun or you feel like you're kind of just blah, you need to go find fun people. Go find fun people in this business to make this fun, because this business is simple. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's simple. It's simple yet duplicatable. Okay. And if this were easy, everyone would be doing it. And so, yes, you're the 1% that said yes and are doing it. I want to challenge you tonight that you talk to more people than you ever have talked to before. Because if I didn't continue to share that conversation with Kayla, she would never be here, along with her entire team. You know, and I think about that we work this business event to event. Okay. So getting around like-minded people, getting around events constantly, you know, whether you're hosting a wrap party or hosting one in your area, when you're around like-minded people, your brain and your mind are not going to start to wander. They're not. I mean, it's hard to. And when I see myself start to wander, I see myself start to just get unfocused. I call up somebody and I just talk to them. And I'm like, I need to talk to a like-minded person that just gets it like I do. Right? Kayla said the events that have changed my mindset are the ones that I've almost not gone on. Yeah, exactly. They're there for a reason. You go to events for a reason. You don't know why sometimes, but you do. And that was kind of like me, you guys, when I went to Georgia last September. I went by myself on mine and Tyson's anniversary, but I felt like I needed to be there. And I'll never forget that weekend because I drove up to Seattle. I flew out to Atlanta, flew back into Seattle 24 hours later, and then spent the weekend with Tyson in Seattle, and I spent like $550 for 24 hours. But what I realized is I needed to be there, and I knew I needed to be there, but I didn't know why until I got there. And so I challenge you guys to get to events, because you never know what's going to happen. As much as you don't want to go, or as hard as it is to find a babysitter, reach out. Let us help you. You know, I'm sure somebody has a resource to a babysitter. I know I do. I have like 25 babysitters right now that I just found, and I'm like so excited. I don't know who to choose. So I just want you guys to know that you're worth it. I want you to, you know, listen. Think about Kayla. And if you are been in that situation, reach out to her. Reach out to her and let her help you. Let her walk you through what she did as far as personal development, or as far as taking action, or as far as being consistent, or nailing down that schedule. Balance is something that we're always going to struggle with, right? Between life and this business. But I will tell you, we're never going to be perfect, but you can't not try. You've got to try putting a little bit in this area, putting a little bit in this area. And something that I posted today, you guys, about being intentional with our time, is that if you get this business 30 minutes to 1 hour a day, that's it. That's it, you guys. 7 hours a week, the least, 7 hours a week. Please tell me that you have 7 hours a week to make 5 figures a month. Okay? And at most, I know some weeks I'll work maybe 15 to 20, but 20 hours a week to make 6 figures a year, is that worth it? And to stay at home and pay off your debt and live a life of freedom and options and time? Think about that for a second. I want you guys to just really, really dig deep tonight and think about your ideal day. What do you want your ideal day to look like when you wake up to when you go to bed? Okay? What does that look like from the minute you open your eyes to the morning, to the afternoon, to dinner time, to bedtime? What does that look like? And I want you to just have that fire, that hungriness, that burning in your belly, that it makes you want to work even when you don't want to. Okay? And then that fire in your belly is going to continue to burn when you get to events and you get around like-minded people and you continue to plug in. So I'm proud of you guys for getting on tonight. I know it was kind of crazy. We had a crazy day with this Goal Diggers group. So I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being on. Thank you, Kayla, so much. Kayla, is there anything else that you want to add into before we finish up?
No, because I think you covered it. But getting to events, you guys, like she said, if I wouldn't have gotten to events, I would not be here. Like, there's no way I would be here. And even with conference, I almost didn't go to conference. All my kids were sick. I was sick. And so I was like, I can't go. But I went. And that completely mind blown like crazy. But events is where my passion's at, because it has truly changed my business. So get to events.
I love it. Awesome. All right, you guys. Next weekend too, I don't know if I say anything to you guys. It's kind of, we haven't talked about it a whole lot, but the Clarkston 1 Team Mission, Ashley Hager is putting that on next Saturday. Kayla and I are actually driving to it, and we're just going up and back. It's $10 a ticket, but if you guys want to ride with us, I'll probably be driving, so we're gonna probably leave like 9:30, and then come back that night next Saturday. So if any of you guys want to come, let me know, and you can carpool with us there. So anyway, girls, thank you so much for being on. Kayla, thank you so much. I hope everybody has a good night. Just know that you're worthy. You got this, and let's get to work. Bye, girls.